from the court, my lord.
Oh.
Yes. My lord, it's in respect of the provisions of section 144, which has just been read here in court.
Right.
And the reason why I'm standing up, my lord, I will just read subsection 3 only of section 144, which says, when Attorney General under section 75, 121 subsection 3, B or 122 subsection 2(1) arraigns an accused for a summary trial in a superior court, the indictment shall be accompanied by a summary of substantial facts of the case that, in the opinion of the Attorney General, are necessary to inform the accused of the allegations against him.
Yes.
So, my lord, my submission is that if the indictment, inclusive of the substantial facts, have been served and read into the record.
Let's keep one thing clear.
Yes, ma'am.
That summary of facts doesn't bind the state. You can't. Am I right, sir?
Yes, indeed. That's what we've placed on.
Yeah, that's what's
on
critical,
record.
because we're reading evidence now. We're including evidence in our argument.
Can I
The
finish?
charge sheet just says you're charged with murder in that on such and such and such a day you killed uRatha. Fine.
My lord,
Okay, go
can
on.
I finish?
Yeah, finish.
Thank you. And it says, allegations against him and that which are necessary against him and that will not be prejudicial to the administration of justice,
Yes. Fine, no problem.
or a security of state, as well as list of the witnesses, addresses of the witnesses, and the general and the Attorney General intends calling at the summary of the trial on
Right.
behalf of the state.
Yeah.
My lord, my submission is that as much as the summary of facts and the indictment, it's not binding to the state,
Right.
but it forms part, the substantial facts forms part of the record because they are read into the record. And the purpose of the substantial facts to be read into the record is to inform the accused of the allegations against him or her.
Yeah.
Then my submission, my lord, is that then if on the list of the substantial facts, there is a fact in which the
It's a fact for an allegation.
it is an allegation, my lord.
Yes,
Can I just rephrase it?
Yeah.
Yes. There is an
That's it,
allegation.
yeah.
Specifically, wherein it refers to Ms. Kelly Khumalo as a complainant.
Is she a complainant?
My lord, I'm saying as is referred to here in paragraph 5, my lord. My lord, then my submission is that the defense should be allowed to seek clarity to the witness on the issues that appears, or on the facts that appears on the substantial facts, my lord.
Okay, fine.
Can we maybe just have
Yeah.
another bite at the cherry? If my colleague is. No.
Yeah, it's true. She's true.
Oh, okay. My lord, we just want to raise a point of procedure. My colleagues are at liberty to raise any point, to argue any point. Section 85 was at their disposal to object against the charge sheet. Section 106 was also at their disposal.
Yeah.
Now we're busy with cross-examination, and now legal arguments have been raised in cross-examination. My suggestion, if they have any legal points to raise, they're at liberty to do so, to ask for an adjournment, to formulate such legal arguments. But at this stage, my lord, we submit that we are busy with cross-examination, and we should then focus on the cross-examination. If anyone wants to raise legal points, they may do so, file heads of argument, on which, we'll all respond. That is the
Yeah,
state's
fine.
suggestion.
You know what? I don't want to be accused of being unfair, even if I understand the law differently from what is being argued here about the merits. I'm here to decide on the merits. The arguments, I've got to listen to them, fine. The evidence, I've got to listen to it, and also thereafter decide whether the state has proven this case beyond a reasonable doubt. But you know what? You can ask this witness anything you want. Mr. Miss, anything you want. Anything.
No, my lord.
I'm talking like you. When you were proposing that there's nothing which you have touched which does not concern the case. So you
Yes.
can ask anything you want about the case. Okay, fine. That's my ruling.
As it pleases the
Yeah,
court, my
right.
lord. But again,
No, I've just ruled. Otherwise, we'll be here the whole day.
yes, my lord, but I'm saying I also have to be informed by the fact that whatever I'm asking this witness, even if it is part of the case, it must be relevant.
No.
Yes.
You can ask anything you want of this witness, please. Because when you come to relevance,
Yes.
then you may have problems, like your learned colleague is saying. He's saying what you're asking is irrelevant. because it is the Director of Public Prosecution who formulated that document and took a decision to charge the 5 gentlemen in front of us.
Yes, my lord.
So please, just go on then.
But I think that objection loses sight of the fact that it is very same witness who introduced the notion that this case is prosecutor driven by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. My lord. But nonetheless, I realize, Brigadier, thank you. I realize that apparently I've not been in a position to get the answer to whether or not the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution was privy to the fact that Kelly is a kingpin when they decided to take a decision in this case. That I'm comfortable with. But nonetheless, let us proceed. Now, in terms of your testimony, you are mentioning that he is just a recopy, that Kelly is a kingpin, not so.
Ufazini bakho uthi uKelly uyena ohamba phambili ukwenzeni ekudaleni leli cala.
Yes, the evidence, my lord, that we collected suggests that she's a trigger point.
Yebo ufazi sibutholile ibona benza sibone ukuthi konke kusukela kuyena.
Now, in terms of your investigation, could you find any motive why Kelly would have wanted to kill Senzo?
La ekuphenyeni kwakho wathola yini ukuthi ngabe kuyisiphi isizathu sokuthi afune ukubulala uSenzo uKelly?
No, my lord, we looked at a number of things. I mean, that is why the court will recall we even read the messages between her and the sister. But to say we found one specific motive, my lord, we've not got that. We are not there yet, my lord. We are still investigating anyway.
Sisaqhubeka nokuphenya angeke ngisho ukuthi ke kukhona isizathu esisodwa singathi isona anaso kodwa ke ziningi izinto esizibhekile saphinda futhi sabheka nemlayezo eyayithunyelwa phakathi kwakhe nodadewabo kodwa ke angeke ngoba saqhubeka nophenyo asikafinyeleli kulokho.
Thank you, sir. What is prompting all this question is because as I listen to the evidence of the people who were in the house, Madlala, Longetwala, Zandile Twala, Zandile Kumalo, yes, I'm sorry, Zandile Kumalo, basically those are the 3 people who testified were in the house. They said, upon sense of being, and I'm not here to plead Kelly's case, but they said, upon sense of being shot at, Kelly was very hysterical. She assisted in loading the deceased into the vehicle and she drove like nobody's business. She drove like mad trying to rush the deceased to the hospital. And then something says to me, okay, but then you can interpret Mr.
Manje ke lokho okushiwa uMadlala noLongethwala noSizande Khumalo kuthiwa ke uKelly wayekhala kakhulu ngesikhathi ke eselingaziwe uSenzo kuthiwa wasiza ngokuthi asize nokuthi uSenzo afakwe emotweni futhi ke washayela ngesivinini esikhulu.
Now, and at the hospital there, she defied procedures with a view to try that Senzo should be assisted as quick as possible.
Futhi nasesibhedlela ke wafike wacela ukuthi asizwe ngokusheshsha.
Now, something comes to me and say, but the investigating officer keeps on telling this court that, look, Kelly is a trigger point. But what could have been the motive for her to kill Senzo? And again, immediately after Senzo was shot by the bullet, okay?
Futhi ke njoba ke ngizwa lana ukuthi ke umseshi uthi yena uKelly uyena obehamba phambili ukubulala ngaSenzo. Kodwa ke isizathu angisitholisisa ukuthi ngabe kuyini isizathu sokuthi afune ukumbulala.
And again, after having been hit or struck by the bullet, Kelly did not waste any time. You know, they bundled the deceased into the motor vehicle and drove at a high speed, that is according to Longo, drove at a high speed to the hospital. Is that conduct really compatible with the conduct of a person who wanted another person being killed?
Futhi ke emva ukuthi adutshulweke ngokusho kaLongethwala uKelly wazama ukuthi uSenzo Meyi afakwe ngokusheshsha emotweni waseshayela ngesikhulu isivini lokho izenzo zomuntu obefisa ukuthi abulawe.
Now do you understand why I wanted to know whether it was the state's narrative from the inception of this case that Kelly Khumalo was the kingpin? Do you now understand?
Manje uzwisisa ukuthi yini ngithi ke mina bengifuna ukuzwisisa kahle ukuthi yini istate uKelly Khumalo uyena ohamba phambili ekuzameni ukuthi ekwenzeni lethal.
So, my lord, I'll start with the last question. As I've said, I cannot speak on behalf of the MPA. I've said it. Decision lies with them insofar as the prosecution, and I can't really, even if I want, I'll be venturing into a terrain where I've got no authority, so I can't take it further than that.
Yes.
Docket was forwarded with all the evidence, including Ms. Kelly Khumalo, and I've indicated that no decision insofar as her position is taken was taken, my lord.
uqala ngisho ngithi mina angeke ngikwazi ukukhulumela iNPA idocket yadluliswa yiswa kubona efaka futhi noKelly Khumalo kodwa ngeke ngikwazi ukukhulumela abeNPA.
I mean, her position is concerned, my lord. So now, with regard to the naming of Ms. Kelly Khumalo as a kingpin, my lord, the evidence, it is not my assertion. It is not me who stood up and said, now we're going to pursue Ms. Kelly Khumalo. I've indicated way back, my lord, that initially when we started this investigation, it looked like it was a robbery gone wrong. After, obviously, we dissected the docket and concluded that they were intruders. The evidence that was before us at the time when I started the investigation, it looked as if they were intruders, and during the robbery, who were intending to rob, and then things went wrong and the deceased was shot. That's what the evidence was pointing at the time. Fast tracking forward, my lord, getting to accused number 1 and subsequent to accused number 2, the picture changed, where for the first time the name of Ms. Kelly Khumalo came in as a trigger point. Now, when you investigate, you can't ignore that fact. That is where now the investigation, insofar as Ms. Kelly Khumalo comes in, then the exhibit JJ and HH with regard to accused 2 kicks in, and then the name again is mentioned of Ms. Kelly Khumalo as trigger point. Then the investigation goes further and further and further, and all manner of things that I spoke about, my lord, in terms of the links, the cell phone, which I said it could not be, as I was investigating. Remember now this allegation is being made. Now I'm trying to find collaboration to say, could this be true or false? And if we found that it was not supported, my lord, yes, we're going to make a finding that this is not true. But then the investigation then revealed, in terms of the experts that we brought in, insofar as, for example, cell phone analysis, that says, I can establish the link between accused 5 and Ms. Kelly Khumalo with regards to those 2 calls. We've dealt with that. Then it comes in and says, but I can also find the see-through bag between accused 3, the see-through bag that is a common link between accused 3, Ms. Kelly Khumalo, in specific because I'm talking to her, and the other links that I'm talking about, my lord. Now, if you take that collectively, and I've also touched base on the issues of the cell phones, which at the time of the offense were not disclosed to the police at the time, because we're now trying to find collaboration, whether there is substance in what was suggested in the confessions. You find all these facts, my lord. You cannot now ignore those things and say, no, it's not true. Evidence that was collected, not my thinking, evidence that was collected supported that there was a trigger point for Ms. Kelly Khumalo, and that's what the evidence said, my lord, emanating from the confessions of both accused number 1 and accused number 2, because that is where the name of Ms. Kelly Khumalo started, not before that.
Engakusho ke manje ukuthi ke ukuze sifinyelele lapho esathi khona Kelly Khumalo uyathinteka akuyona into esho yimina kodwa ke ekuqaleni kokuzwa ukuthi kukhona ubugebengu obenziwa lapha ngoba khona babezama ukungena bayobamba inkunzi nokuthi kwakukhona abantu abakhona eqaleni thina sasibona sengathi yebo kwakubanjwa inkunzi nokuthi kwakukhona ke ababangenela lapho nokuthi ke khona wadutshula lapho sacanga ukuthi wadutshula ngoba kuukuthi ngesikhathi bezama ukubamba inkunzi khona ungahambanga kahle kodwa ke uma sesiqhubekela phambili sesithatha nomfazi uMshololo oqala noSibili sesiqhubekela phambili necala kuyabonakala kuyavela ukuthi hayibo uKelly ngathi naye uyathinteka khona lapho and mase sifaka futhi nembukiso uJJ noHH kuyabonakala ukuthi cha uKelly ngempela ingathi kukhona ukusola ukuthi ngabe kuyena ohamba phambili kuleli cala na ukwabe kungelona iqiniso bengeke kube inkinga ukuthi sisheshe sibone nakhona ukuthi hayi lona impela akho lutho olumhlanganisa naleli cala kodwa ke ekuqhubekeni nokuthi sifune ukuthi sifunisise siphambili siphenye kwaqala ukubona izinto ezinjengesikhwama esatholakala isiphoma lesokwazi ukubona ngaphakathi kwaso esasibonakala usatholakala efonini kaKelly nasefonini kaMshololo wesithathu kona kwaziqala ukusenza ukuthi siqala ukubona ukuthi cha khona izinto engathi ziyaxhumana la angeke sikwazi ukuziba ukuthi siyabona ukuthi khona izinto ezibonakalayo la ukuthi hayi uKelly ngathi uyathinteka and okukhulu nje okwasinika ukuthi sibe nalowo mqondo ukuthi yiloko kwavela ekakhulukazi ebafonini kumakhala ekhukhwini.
Yes, my lord, I just want to put this into correct context. When I said this is where the name Kelly Khumalo came up, I meant to say when her name was now labeled as a mastermind. That's the right context I want to put it.
No, engifuna ukuchaza ukuthi lavela kanjani la engizama ukuchaza ukuthi lavela kanjani ilona igama lakhe njengowayo ungqa phambili kuloko ekuzameni ukulungisa ukuthi ayodutshula usenzo.
So in essence, my lord, what I'm saying, you cannot now, as much as I hear what Advocate uMnisi is saying in how it was described, Ms. Kelly Khumalo acted after the incident up to when the deceased was taken to the hospital and whatever transpired at the hospital. After this allegation then came up in the confessions, investigations were done, and this investigation, my lord, revealed what I've tabled before court. And in the search for the truth, I could not, as I'm standing here, I could not find a reasonable explanation or justification as to why, for example, and I'll deal with the calls. What was the relationship between Ms. Kelly Khumalo and accused 5? And what was those calls were about in terms of relations? Because remember, she was a public performer, a singer. It could have been that, for example, they're related or there was some transactions of some business that they were doing together. I could not find the legitimate reasons for that transaction. I could not, up to today standing here. I could not find reasons as to why there were these similarities in terms of the picture of the money appearing in the photo downloads of accused 3, as well as the one of Ms. Kelly Khumalo, and to be fair, the one of Long as well. I could not find reason, my lord, as to why the phone numbers that were picked up by the expert to say they were existing on that day, because I've explained, my lord, that the issue of the numbers came in when I wanted to establish, because when you follow the confession, it is said one of the accused were constantly talking to Ms. Kelly Khumalo or referring to her as sisters. And I've indicated that, my lord, that when you were looking at the numbers that were known to the state, these 2 numbers, the one that was alleged to have been robbed, which was robbed and was picked up by Kugileke section, and the one that remained, which was downloaded, we could not find those linkages. We could not find calls that would have come from this accused, except the calls of the 2 of August and the 15th of October on her number that came from accused 5. But the calls of that specific day, on the day of the incident, we could not find. And that then widened the investigation, which then revealed that there were numbers that she was using on that day. And unfortunately, because the police were not aware at the time, could not get those numbers, and that link could not be established, my lord. When we came to know about them, the window period, as I've said, my lord, had passed, and we could not get the actual handset to actually do the download. Now, if you take this fact that I've just mentioned, my lord, or this that were revealed by the investigation, you cannot ignore the fact that there is something untoward, and that is why I then made the application for the J50 in terms of section 43 for Ms. Kelly Khumalo to be added as one of the accused, my lord.
Yebo ngikuzwile ukube kukhulunywa ubaba uMnisi ukuthi ke uKelly Khumalo waziphatha kanjani ngesikhathi uSenzomeyiwa esibhedlela. Ngiyakuzwa lokho. Kodwa ke khona into engesakwazi ukuyiziba ufakazi esihlangana nabo. Mina vele bengakwazi ukuthi ngithi ngingayithola ukuhlobana kukaKelly noMshololo wesihlanu, ngoba mhlambe ke asazi mhlambe babe yihlobo o mhlambe babazana ngebhizinisi. Kufika namhlanje angakwazi ukuthi ngitholisise lokho. Kodwa ke ukuthi kwakukhona isithombe esifana nayo esisefonini kaLongo ethola uMshololo wesithathu noKelly, asingeke sikuzibe lokho. Futhi ke nokuthi ke uMshololo wesithathu waletha i-confession and nokuthi ke futhi ke la eqoqeni abasola babebiza uKelly Khumalo ukuthi sisters. Ngiyabona ngathi khona ukuthi ngathi bayamazi, kodwa ke sange sithole mhlambe ke amafoni aye ababeqhubana ngawo, kodwa kwaba khona abili nje mhla 2 August nomhla 15 ku-October, and lapho ke ayikhuluma khona noMshololo wesihlanu. Kodwa ngokubona ke kunjalo sabona ukuthi kungcono senabise uphenyo lwethu sizama ukutholisisa ukuthi ngaba kunani futhi olunye lungasisiza. Kodwa ke inamba ezazikhona sasingakwazi ukuthi singazenza ngoba sasingenabo umakhala ekhukhwini labe singakwazi ukuthi singenza ama download bona ukuthi sithole ulwazi olungasisiza ukuthi siqhubekisele phambili uphenyo lwethu.
Yes, my lord.
Thank you, Brother. Now you mentioned that you could not find any reason why the same photos which were in accused number 3's, which were downloaded from accused number 3's phone, could be in Kelly's phone. You could not find a reason for that. That's what you just said.
Utheke wena anzani ukwazi ukuthola isizathu sokuthi yini indaba izithombe ezikwazi ukutholakala efonini kaMshololo wesithathu zaphinde zabona zisefonini kaKelly Khumalo.
Yes, my lord, but I'm referring to that in the context of a reasonable explanation. For example, let's say a similar picture is found between me and my colleagues who works with me. The reason could be that we've exchanged it. We've sent each other because we work together. I'm referring a reason in that context that I could not find a reasonable explanation in the course of the investigation as to why there will be these common features that are appearing, the links that the experts are referring to, my lord. I could not find, in other words, a reasonable explanation in terms of any relations between Ms. Kelly Khumalo and accused 3, as we are speaking about accused 3, my lord. There is no relationship that I found, whether in terms of her profession or his whereabouts in terms of where he come from, homeland, phosphorus. I could not find anything that ties or indicates that these people know each other, and because of that, they could have shared certain things, my lord.
Uthi ke phela mina asizange sikwazi ukuthola ukuthi yini uMshololo wesithathu enezithombe ezifana nayo nezithombe esefonini kaKelly, ngoba yabona makuukuthi asithi ke mina kukhona izithombe fonini yami nezomuntu esebenzisana nayo kukhona ke into engaba isizathu ukuthi basebenza ndawonye kungaba nesizathu sokuthi mhlambe kukhona izinto ebezingaba semafonini abo bomabili kodwa ke lana sizange sithole isizathu sokuthi uMshololo wesithathu noKelly kanti bahlangana phi bayihlobo mhlambe emsebenzini kukhona into esingathi yabaqhumi futhi nokuthi uhlala phi uMshololo wesithathu akuzange kutholakale lutho nje olwenza ukuthi sithi kukhona ukuxhumana esingathi kungaba khona ngaleso sikhathi.
Yes, my lord.
Thank you, Brigadier. So, in your quest to try and find a reasonable explanation on your narrative, now, did you ever consider what I referred to you yesterday as a scientific invention being a boon to mankind?
Futhi ke wake wathola mhlambe incazelo yalokho ukuthi scientific inventions is a boon to mankind.
No, my lord. I mean, in fairness to Mr. Mnisi, no, I did not. But that's not how you investigate. You investigate and rely in the search for the truth. You do your best to find the truth. And with greatest respect, not assumption, because I would have assumed. I did not find. Remember, in this matter, my lord, I brought in experts from who works with cell phones. Now, if that was available for some reason or the other, I suppose then the expert would have said, no, this is the explanation as to why this see-through bag is found in these 3 phones. That's not what was informed, that's not the report I got from them. And I relied on that in moving on with the investigation. That's why I'm saying, other than that, me in the course of my investigation, I could not establish link beyond that as to why there will be this link, let me put it that way, not communication, link. Hence, as I've said, I did not find any relations between Ms. Kelu Kumalo and accused 3.
Yeah, what emsazweni wethu sifanele sizame ukuthi sithole iqiniso, sifune iqiniso. Singathathi nje esicabangelayo. Ngoba njengoba bengishilo, mina ngasebenzisa uchwepheshe la, abochwepheshe bamafoni and futhi ke nabo bathi mabebheka la emafonini abazange banginike ukuthi kukhona yini isizathu abanganginika sona esikhomba ukuthi bafanele baqhumene kanjani uMshololo noKelly and futhi akuzange kube nesizathu singathi singinikwa sona esamkelekayo kimi.
That's my answer, man.
Thank you, Brigadier. Let's proceed. Now, you had made a number of affidavits. In other words, you have penned a number of affidavits in this case, others with a view to request for certain information, to be allowed to access certain information, the 205 application, the one is known as the 205 applications. Also penned affidavits when you were applying for the warrant of arrest of this accused, not so?
That is correct, my lord.
Affidavit amaningi lana phakathi kwawo kwakhona nalawo awayecelo zokuthi ukwazi ukuthi ke ufinyelele ulwazi oluthize into enjenga mhlambe ke asithi isibonelo lapho ucela ukuthi ufaka izicelo zokuthola ama 205 and okunye ke ilawo ucela khona ukuthi ke ukwazi ukuthi uthole ama warrant of arrest kusho ukuthi incwadi esigunyaza ukuboshwa kwabantu athi yebo kunjani.
Thank you. And the basis of those affidavits will be found in the context of investigation also.
Kushuthi izathu zokuthi ufunela ubhalela ama affidavit kuyatholakala lapho ekuqhubekeni nokuphenya kunjani?
Yes, my lord.
Yebo kunjani?
Thank you. Let us go down the trip memory lane and deal with each of those affidavits that you penned. Now, I'll just give you these papers that I have, just for you to confirm in a general term that these are your statements and everything. You see, I take it. It will be fallacious for me to be expected to say, is that your handwriting? Read back to you, I read everything and everything to you, in terms of what the protocol relating to authentication of statements are. Let us just do it in a very intelligent way. I propose, I'm going to hand to you a document which is supposedly your affidavit. Just have a look at it and confirm whether this is your affidavit.